Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to The Outsider's Perspective. My name's Ollie, and this isn't your loaf of daily bread, because I don't do those anymore. This is actually your very first vlog. Before I go any further, I want to start off by saying thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me. And thank you for giving me the motivation and inspiration necessary to keep making these videos. In particular, I'd like to give a shout out to a few of my most loyal supporters. People like Greg Ferguson, who has been watching my videos for years, who comments and always gives me lots to think about. Thanks, Grego. Big shout out to Antti from Helsinki. Antti, I hope I'm not butchering your name, but if I know myself, and I think I do, I probably am butchering it badly. Nevertheless, I want to say thank you. Like Greg, you have been following my videos for quite some time now. You're always there with a comment, whether it's kind words or sharing your own experiences, and I really appreciate it. You've given me lots of insight and lots of things to think about. Next up on my list, shout out to my brother from another mother, Dale, aka Dookie Poo, aka El Gingeroso. Now, for those of you who don't know, Dale has been my best friend since grade 3. He is my family, and his family is my family. And of course, he doesn't have to support me. He doesn't have to watch these videos. He doesn't have to share them on his social media, but he does, because he's got my back. And Dale, I have learned a great deal from you. I get a lot of insight from you, and I learn a lot, not only from talking to you, but from observing you and seeing how you operate and how you go through the things that happen in your life. So thank you. Next up on my list, Cressa Sisu, my good friend from church. Cressa, thank you for following me on social media. Thank you for watching my videos, and I'm glad that I can make you laugh or at least chuckle a little bit. And Cressa, I'm going to be interviewing you on this channel sooner rather than later, because I think that my viewers would be interested to hear what you have to say and to hear about some of your experiences. So stay tuned. I will get you on this channel. That's my mission anyway. And last but certainly not least, I got to give a shout out to my boo, my beautiful wife, Candace, and of course, my lovely children, Kiana, Evangeline, and Cyrus. I've been away for the last 3 days on business. In fact, I'm in the rental car right now recording this video, but it's been really hard being away from you guys, and I really miss you. And I'm really happy that by the time this video is live on YouTube, I will be back with you once again. You know, I get a lot of motivation and fuel from knowing that the people that I care about, the people that I love, and the people that I respect are actually watching this. And, you know, whether they're doing it out of kindness or whether they're getting something out of it or not, you know, either way, I'm really appreciative. So thank you for watching, and thanks for the support. So yeah, vlog number 1. Like I said in my first video, I want to take a more scripted approach to this channel. I want to think ahead. I want to be more deliberate. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing these types of videos altogether. I'm just going to do fewer of them. Now, despite the fact that it's unscripted, I do have some bullet points in the laptop sitting next to me so that I stay on track, and I will do my best to do so, because part of this new structure of the channel is I'm trying to be more concise. I'm trying to be more focused. And in that spirit of sticking to the point, let me go to my list right now and let me go through the items that I would like to talk to you about today. The first thing that I want to talk to you about is the new channel, the new structure, and the new format that I've been using to make videos. We're 4 episodes into this brave new world, my friends, and I've had a number of people ask me how I feel about it, how it's going. So I figured I'd give you an update. Here's how I feel about it. It's awesome. It allows me to explore topics in a totally different way than before, and I really am enjoying it. I've already scripted out the first 12 episodes. I've got a pretty good idea of where I'm going with this chunk of content. And once I'm done those 12 episodes, then I will reevaluate, figure out where I want to go next, and then I'll start scripting those ones out. So from a satisfaction standpoint, I am very satisfied. I'm very happy with it. It's quite enjoyable. I feel re-energized. As far as what you can expect from the material that I will be sharing on this channel, I think you probably have a pretty good idea already just from these last few weeks. My goal is to drop one episode a week every Thursday because it's the most holy day of the week for me. And you can expect these videos to be somewhere in the 8 to 10 minute range. These first 12 episodes are really just an overview, an introduction. I'm trying to bring in new people and give them enough context so they understand what we're doing and what we're talking about. I'm trying to start from the beginning, or at least I'm trying to create a beginning and then go from there. You know, I took some steps back and I tried to put myself in my own shoes, but like 10 years ago, like how I felt 10 years ago, how I was, and what my concerns were, and some of my experiences that I had shortly before my cubicle epiphany. Because that's where I'm trying to reach people. I'm trying to get people who are looking for something, but they're not quite sure what it is, or people who feel like there's something wrong, but they can't quite identify it, right? And that's why I started the new channel with this whole series on finding a way out and escape routes, because that was my experience before my cubicle epiphany. It was definitely how I felt, and a lot of people feel this way. I talk to people every day and they feel this way. Like my colleague, Mike Renowden, big shout out to Mikey. You know, he was in the boardroom, and this happened right before I wrote the script for that episode. That really happened. We were sitting in the boardroom and we had that conversation, and it was like the synchronicity was beautiful because I was just thinking about this stuff. I was just writing the first few scripts, and this guy just walks in and just without any warning just goes off into this diatribe about, you know, the voice in his head and how it kind of questions his purpose and his, you know, the meaning of his life. So don't worry, I don't feel this way now. And some of the stuff that I'm saying in these videos, you know, I know Grego shot me an email after the second episode and was kind of like questioning, you know, what are you trying to sell here? Or like, what are your motives in doing this and all this stuff? And it's like, I got you, Grego. I got you. I'm trying to tell a story. I'm not just trying to talk about the beliefs and the principles, I'm trying to set it up, trying to create some kind of, you know, structure around it. So I really want to get people invested. And the best way to get people invested is to tell them stories. You know, I'm a storyteller by trade, and that's really my roots are in writing stories and telling stories. And so what I've learned from those experiences with writing, and also from my experiences recently at the church that I go to, is that insight and wisdom and any kind of, you know, useful knowledge is best communicated in stories. But my friend Greg, he made a good point in his email. You know, he was questioning my motives, and I really appreciate that because it's something that I've been thinking about a lot these days. I've been grappling with something and wrestling with it, and I know what I have to do, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to come out and tell you straight up, full disclosure. What I'm doing here, this whole art of living, spiritual exploration, helping people find their true nature and become their own masters, you know, all that stuff. This is my life's work. I know it. And I've known it for a long time, but I never wanted to come straight out and say it. I never wanted to come straight out and say it because I guess part of me felt like it was a pretentious thing to say, you know, this is my life's work. It's my passion. It's my calling, and I know it, and I've known it for a long time, but I've been resisting, and I've been in denial. But as I said, that changes today, because now I'm telling you straight up, I want to do this for a living. I want to do it for a living. I don't want it to just be a hobby or a passion anymore. I want it to be my career. And I don't know what that looks like. And I don't know what the path to that goal looks like either. But I know that if I just don't do anything, I'm never going to achieve that goal. So here I am. Part of my motivation for reinventing and revamping the channel is this desire to leverage this channel and the videos and the content that I make into something, an opportunity or a job or a career in this field. Now, to be clear, I don't expect it to happen. And if it doesn't ever happen, I will still be very satisfied just making videos for whoever's willing and eager to listen. But at the same time, I would feel really crappy if I didn't try a little harder to turn this into something that I can use to support my family and support myself. So usually this is the part where the YouTuber or the content creator asks you for money, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask for your gifts, whatever that is, whether it's your insight, your feedback, your advice, maybe your services. Maybe you've got some skills that I lack, and maybe you can donate those skills in the name of this channel and the work that I do. Case in point, my good friend Bobby Brown makes music, and guess who made the new theme song? You know, the part where I'm like, hit my music. That new theme song was made by my good friend Bobby. Shout out to Bobby Banks, Bobby Brown. I should be putting a link or some kind of promotional image to his album right here. You can get it on Google Play and on YouTube. And Bobby makes dope beats. So that's one example of something that you can donate to help me further develop and grow this channel. You could also send me content that you've created. So for example, if you write or if you make videos yourself and your content aligns with mine in any way, shape, or form, I would love to get my hands on it. I would love to consume it. I would love to share it. I would love to promote your stuff. And the reason that this is actually a donation for me or a gift to me is that I get a lot of inspiration out of other people's work. And I get to see how my own views and my own work lines up with it and how it differs and how it's similar. And it just helps me as a content creator. So if you come across articles or videos or anything that you think, whoa, that sounds like something Ollie was talking about in one of his videos, or whoa, that's something that Ollie would probably like, right? Send it over. Those are gifts, and I benefit from those. I shared this article by a guy named Mike Sturm on medium.com, and the article was, again, very synchronistic because I read it like right after I put that video out. It was perfect. What is meaningful work? That was the name of the article, and it was exactly in line with my own experiences and my own insights, because at the end of the article, Mike Sturm basically says, it's all subjective. It's all subjective. It's all a matter of preference and point of view. So that's what I learned from those experiences in construction and working jobs that I didn't quite enjoy. I learned that I had to look at them differently in order to enjoy them. So right around the time I had this little realization in the crawl space, I had a friend at the time named Brian Sadler. He's still a friend, obviously, but we used to work together. So we used to talk a lot, and in fact, actually, the contractor for whom I worked was Brian's dad. So it was a family business. But anyway, one time I remember Brian said something to me, and it's always stuck with me. This was right around the same time. He said, "I'm getting paid to work out." That's what he would tell himself. That's how he made his job bearable. That's how he got through the hard days, or like the jobs that I was describing where you're in a crawl space, with a jackhammer. He used to remind himself, I'm getting paid to work out. That's it right there, baby. That's the power of perspective, because that's exactly what I was doing in the crawl space. Right after he said that, I was like, something clicked for me. And it was like, yeah, it's not my favorite job, but it doesn't matter, because guess what? I'm getting paid like 25 bucks an hour to go and sling a big jackhammer around. And at the end of the day, my muscles are sore. I feel it. I don't have to go hit the gym anymore because I just got paid to work out. So that's one way that you can shift your perspective, look at something in a different light, and all of a sudden it looks completely different and you feel differently about it. So that was kind of an interesting coincidence, if you believe in those types of things. Not just the Mike Sturm article, but also way back in the day when I was working construction, just having that realization. And then my best friend at the time basically just telling me straight up, like, this is what I do. And it was right in line. So, back then I used to call them Jedi mind tricks. Right? These are not the droids you are searching for. Right? I used to be like, you like this job, you're being paid to work out. How you look at things determines how things are. It's all perspective. It's all subjective. And To take it one step further, you have control over how you look at things and how you think of things, and therefore you have control over your own experience of life. And for me, that was groundbreaking. Last but not least, I wanted to make a few follow-up points after the third episode, the inner landscape. I had some pretty good comments from Auntie and from Grego, and I just wanted to quickly jump on those and just kind of add my 2 cents. So first, Auntie from Helsinki, he said, it's hard to study the brain using a brain, and I couldn't agree more. But the way I see it is a little bit different. I don't actually think that we ever use our brains. I think that we use our minds. And as I said in the video, there's a connection between brain and mind, but when I'm thinking, I'm not consciously firing neurons, I'm thinking, I'm producing thoughts. And, the physical correlation of those thoughts might be firing neurons, electrical signals in the brain and whatnot. But the experience of thinking is not the experience of firing neurons. So I know it's kind of like a weird distinction to make, but I think it's important because when I'm talking about spiritual exploration, I'm not talking about exploring the brain. I'm talking about exploring the intangible, the mind, the psyche. And to that point, this actually kind of lines up really well with Grego's system, which I explored at length over like 4, maybe 5 hours of interviews with Greg a while back. If you go back to those videos and you take a look at Greg's method, his system, his model, if you will, it's all about levels of consciousness and how we travel up and down in those levels. Well, or some of us, maybe some of us are more stationary, maybe some of us move around more, whatever. But the point is this movement across levels of consciousness is exactly the same, in my opinion, or at least in my mind, as spiritual exploration. The inner landscape is the levels of consciousness. They're roughly the same thing. So when I'm talking about spiritual exploration, I'm really talking about going across those levels, going up and down. But, it's just a different metaphor. And for me, the metaphor of spiritual exploration, first of all, has a couple of advantages. It's more of a narrative approach. Again, if you watch those videos I recorded with Greg, they're very analytical, right? He has a lot of diagrams. He breaks everything down into these images, and everything is labeled, and it's very clean and analytic, and I enjoy it. It's really good at conveying the message and the information in a kind of a factual way. My approach is different. The idea of spiritual exploration is more like the hero's journey, right? Going within, exploring, and then re-emerging. This similar motif that we see in myths and stories across time. So it all connects, and yeah, I mean, that's a good way of looking at spiritual exploration there, Grego, if you're curious. The whole process really is not much different from your process of traveling up and down the levels of consciousness. It's just a little less formal. It's a little bit more narrative in nature. It's more about the story. It's more about the adventure. So just putting a slightly different emphasis on it, and I'm sure we'll have other nuances, but just wanted to clarify, basically the whole point of this last video, just to put a really good fine point on it here, is that there's symmetry. There's a symmetry between the inner and the outer, between the spiritual and the material. And like I said, as within, so without. The only problem is if all we're focused on is what's out there and we don't know what's within, then we don't really understand the part that we play in the manifestation of our daily lives, of our reality. So my whole goal is to get people to turn around and look inward and go within so that they can figure out how they can change things in there to create change out here. Anyway, I got to go catch a flight, my friends. Thank you for joining me here in some random parking lot in beautiful Kelowna, British Columbia. And I will see you guys next Thursday for the 4th episode of The Outsider's Perspective. And happy Halloween, by the way. I almost forgot. Trick or treat! All right, friends. That's it for me. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to live well.